to render a judgment about Donald Trump's behavior. The American people must decide whether Donald Trump's assault on our democracy on January 6th makes him unfit for public office in the highest office in the land. The American people must decide if Trump's embrace of violence to preserve his power is acceptable. Perhaps most importantly, the American people must decide if they want to entrust the president once again, the presidency, to Donald Trump, now knowing he'll be even more emboldened to do whatever he pleases whenever he wants to do it. You know, at the outset of our nation, it was the character of George Washington, our first president, to find the presidency. He believed power was limited, not absolute. And that power always resides with the people, always. Now, over 200 years later, today's Supreme Court decision, once again, it'll depend on the character of the men and women who hold that presidency that are going to define the limits of the power of the presidency, because the law will no longer do it. I know I will respect the limits of the presidential powers I have for 3.5 years, but any president, including Donald Trump, will now be free to ignore the law. I concur with Justice Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote. So should the American people dissent. I dissent. May God bless you all, and may God help preserve our democracy. Thank you. May God protect our troops.
President Biden speaking there. You did hear a few questions shouted at the end. Were not answered. I want to bring back in my colleagues, MJ Lee, Jeff Zeleny, Van Jones, also with me. MJ,
So historic presidential ruling by the Supreme Court. I mean, there's so much that's happened today. I just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of what the president was talking about in this historic ruling. I'm the only one here live streaming tonight because we are watching history in the making. This was a historic ruling by the Supreme Court. So pretty much the Supreme Court ruled today that there are limitations on what the president can and cannot do. But they pretty much said that they can have, the right to basically be able to make certain decisions and then not have any type of repercussions for it. So, I mean, this is a historic ruling. It's basically giving the presidential immunity if they're saying that they did something in the official guidelines of them being president. This is historic. This is very giving me dictator vibes. It's a 119-page dissent. The Republican majority opinion in the Trump immunity case is a disaster. People are saying for anti-constitutional thinking that fails to live up to the originalist standards that the Supreme Court's justices have so pervasively and arduously set as the course for our nation's highest court. Basically, it is a portrayal of the idea that no man is above the law. It's definitely giving dictator vibes. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's a little scary. It's a little scary what's happening. I mean, it basically says that the president can just do anything. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, to me, that is a little bit scary. The one silver lining for the day is that the majority did not give Trump the absolute immunity that he asked for, they're saying. For some presidential powers, those must loosely connected to the office. Immunity is a reputable presumption. And for unofficial acts, they're trying to say that the January 6th riot was an unofficial act. Now, do I think that President Trump is solely responsible for January 6th? Absolutely not. I mean, I would be crazy to think that. Like so many of those that suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, I'll be absolutely honest. However, this is historic. This ruling is historic, that basically it's saying that as long as a president hides behind that they did something within their official capacity needed for their presidential role, that they can just do whatever. I mean, it is quite scary. I don't want to live in a dictatorship, as I'm sure many of you don't, because let's think of it like this. For those that are happy that this was a positive for Trump's fate, yeah, it's a positive, it's a win. But at the same time, Biden can do anything as long as he's saying it's within the official capacity. He can go out tomorrow and say, I want to arrest Trump and lock him up. This is so, so, so scary, guys. I don't think we should be celebrating this. I know it's a personal win for Trump, but I don't think it's a win in the sense of what is allowed to be done. Tomorrow, this is just a preview for what we got going on. Tomorrow, we're going to do a video on the debates. Was it a debate or was it a funeral? Also, we're going to have a video called Trump's Lies some point this week, because we're going to dissect the alleged lies that Trump did. Were they lies? We're going to really dissect it, and we're going to debunk the alleged lies. So thank you for tuning in for this historic Supreme Court ruling with us. And as always, vote.